she was pretty stoked with the job, but the windows were beautiful, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good thing. All right. So, thanks for indulging me in that. All right. You're probably wondering what all this stuff is. It's pretty simple. There are only 6 different materials that windows are built out of. But before I get into that, let me just ask you a question. What do you think is the most important component of the window, the frame or the glass?
I know size is a big part, but you gotta have something stable, I think. Maybe the frame.
Yep, you're right. Most of my clients say it's the glass because it makes it the biggest part of the window, but it's actually the frame. The frame is the structural component of the window. If you don't have a good frame, it doesn't matter how good the glass is, it's not going to hold up. It's just like your kitchen. You do a beautiful kitchen, remodel your bathrooms. If the frame of the house isn't structural, it caves in. It doesn't matter what's inside. It's not going to hold up. So I just want you to keep that in mind when we're going through all of this. It's the frame. It's the structural component of the window, and it's the most important part of the window because it does support the glass. So, as I mentioned, I tell my clients that if you break it down and just take it from a place of common sense, it'll come together for you. And there are only, like I said, 6 different ways to make a window. Since the dawn of time, since they started putting holes in walls to look out of and put glass in, and create a window, they made windows out of this. That is wood. That's actually old growth wood. Trees are 100, 200 years old. Feel how dense that is, and heavy it is. It's rich in tannins and acids. I mean, termites can't eat into it. They just break their teeth on it. Very sturdy material. Homes you see built in the 20s and 30s and 40s that have wood sills that are still rock hard because it's made out of this stuff. That doesn't exist anymore. You can't get that. We've cut it all down. Only place this exists is in protected forest. It's a shame, but it's a couple of buildings approached through the 20s and the 50s, kind of decimated it. What exists today is this stuff. Look at that. That's new growth wood. You notice how wide the rings are?
Yeah.
You see how it's even kind of bowing. And that's a new piece of wood. It's grown on tree farms. 5 to 7 years. They water it, fertilize it, get to the size it needs. Right. And then they harvest it. It's like a buffet for termites. It's high in moisture content. It rots out very quickly. Requires a lot of maintenance. If you don't constantly paint this stuff and keep it up, it's going to rot out on you. Were you thinking about doing a wood window?
Well, the house isn't as old as that would be, so no.
Wood windows are pretty, but they just require a lot of maintenance. And they're expensive. I mean, these run $2,000 and up an opening. So, all right. So, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, they came up with this, which is what you have in your home now. Yep, it's aluminum. Single pane aluminum. The one benefit of aluminum was that it was strong. So you can have these thin frames that are holding the glass. The problem with aluminum is it's highly conductive of heat and cold. It's the most energy inefficient window out there.
Yeah, I know that.
Right, you make frying pans out of this stuff. So, especially when this stuff gets hot, like the single pane window in here, even though it's only one pane of glass, it's got glue on it, and that glue will literally melt. And then air seeps through and air is coming around. I was looking at your windows, you have that fuzzy pile of weather stripping that's all matted down. I mean, this stuff that hasn't been affected in years.
The glue is why I see like a little yellow on the bottom of some of these windows as well. Just from drying and
right, just deteriorating, breaking down. Yeah. So I assume that you're not interested in aluminum anymore since you want to get rid of your aluminum, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And this stuff ranges from $900 to $1,300 an opening. All right, so the next thing they try to come up with is this. This is aluminum clad. What they try to do is they try to take the benefits of the wood, the insulating value of the wood, and they wanted to protect it with the aluminum, which is not a good insulator, right?
Right.
In theory, it's a pretty good idea. The problem is with it, it's still aluminum on the outside that conducts heat and cold. Let Let me ask you a question. What happens if you take a Coke can out of the refrigerator and set it out on your counter? What happens to that Coke can?
I think the beads are called condensation.
Right, it starts to sweat.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly right. That's exactly what happens with this as well. When it's cold outside and warm inside, you'll have condensation on the inside of the aluminum, which is dripping onto this new growth wood. And air is not getting in there, so it stays moist longer. And it doesn't dry out. And what happens is it just starts to rot from the inside out. Let me show you something. I'll show you this.
Yeah. You said, yeah.
There. Starts to literally just rot until it's falling out of the frame. You don't even know it's happening. Pella and Marvin make an aluminum clad window. They're not bad companies, it's just a poor design. There are actually a couple of class action lawsuits going on with it. It's just because of the maintenance factor in it rotting. Were you considering aluminum clad? Did you even know this was an option?
I've seen it, doing the internet, but I didn't know what it really was all
Yeah,
about.
that's
Yeah.
it.
But I don't want that falling on anybody.
And it can get chilly here at night, and then you try to keep your house warm, and it literally has condensation built up in it. Anyway, this stuff runs between $1,200 and $1,800 an opening. That's not cheap. So, all right, your next option is this.
Sorry, I'm just writing for, just trying to keep my notes and
Sure,
stuff.
no worries.
Yeah.
Tell me to slow down if I need to. I talk fast. So.
Well, no, my head's facing you while you're talking. That's not always good, but.
Got it. All right, so this, I don't spend too much time on this. This is fiberglass. It only makes up about 2% of the market. The reason is because it's really not suitable to be a window material. It's flexible. Fiberglass is flexible, just like fishing poles and boat hulls.
Yep.
The design is when it flexes, it's to pop back into shape. So you don't really want your window frame flexing because it's holding the glass. And one of the things is it can't be welded together, it has to be glued and screwed. So if you have a flexible material that's glued and screwed and your house, we live in Southern California, is shifting, then you can have this happening in the corners and it can break the seals and you have water intrusion. Another thing is it has to be painted. This is all painted surface. So if you don't maintain that over time, you've probably seen in a boat sitting out in the sun, what happens on the hull is it's dull and it's got that spider cracking stuff. It's fiberglass, it's what it is. Were you considering fiberglass?
No, not really. I hadn't even really heard of it being used.
Like I said, it doesn't make up that much of the market, so I don't spend that much time on it. And the
Right.
price range on that stuff is, $1,000 to $1,400. So, all right. Tell me what that is.
That's plastic.
It is. That's exactly right. It's not a trick question. That is plastic. The industry doesn't like to use the term plastic, so they use the term vinyl. But it's polyvinyl chloride, PVC. It's an oil-based product. It is plastic. If I put wheels on it, it's a toy. Vinyl is vinyl is vinyl. People just don't realize what it is. So there are a few things about vinyl that are a problem. And as I mentioned, the frame is a structural component of the window. Well, vinyl expands and contracts 7 times more than the glass. So you have this frame that's moving back and forth over this glass, and what happens is it can break the seals, right? Because it's taking pressure off and then adding pressure onto the seals of the insulated glass unit, the IG unit, right? And we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, it's moving back and forth 7 times more than the window. If I put this this frame inside your window, right, and this is expanding and contracting, what's going to win, this or the wall?
The wall.
The wall, right? So it can't expand outwards, it's expanding inward onto the glass and causes the glass failure. Glass failure is when a window fogs up. What happens is the seals break, any argon, nitrogen gas that's in there leaks out, and regular air leaks in and has moisture content, so they fog up. Well,